Sitting here talking to a friend and thinking about 7 days since I launched this project and hitting about 70, 72 followers. And I'm pretty proud of that. And I appreciate you guys. I really want you guys to keep pushing this. It's a very big passion for me. And I think it's really sending out a good message. Got a lot of good feedback. Was out and about today. And folks from the gym talking to me about it. Ran into a couple at Walmart. I'll shoot some shout outs at the end of this one, but got me thinking, meditating this morning, Kohi Mountains, for those who saw that. I really had a deep thought while I was up there. Something I thought about was everyone's pretty much tired of seeing the same thing. The mundane, the repetition of just doing A, B, C, D every single day. And when I hear people talk, and I was having a conversation today at the gym, and most of the time we're all walking around saying the things we're supposed to say, you know. But what I started to realize is even talking to some of the younger kids at the gym, and when I say younger, it's guys like half my age, right? And they're so open to learning a different perspective and a different way of life, right? And then scrolling through social media today, out and about buying some things. I think Best Buy right now, their employees are becoming my second family with everything I'm buying from there. But what I'm seeing is a lot of people are not wanting to play the character anymore. They want to just start taking off their masks. And, in my experience, I've been there a shit ton of times. I used to wear masks in every single different group I was in, whether it was in front of family, in front of friends, in front of workers. And I think a lot of that is from, I don't know, conditioning, who we grew up around, hanging out with, our little cliques in high school, and what our parents taught us. And it's almost like this framework that was created, and we always were tempted to say what we were taught that we should say. And what I mean by that is, when you ever see somebody going through a hard time, right? And we're always talking about, whatever you dream will come true and you're going to be all right. And I think most of the time we're speaking to that from something we were told. There's a lot out there right now about manifestation. There's a lot out there about dream boards and vision boards and, what you really believe you'll receive. And I was the first believer in that when a lot of that was pushed, whether it was, The Secret that I read numerous times and, throw it up in the universe and it comes back to you. But I'm starting to believe, and going into this new year, I was thinking a lot of manifestation and a lot of those things come from need. Sort of like, we need this to receive happiness. We need this and we'll be good. And a couple of years ago, I read this book, and it was probably the best book I ever read, right? And it was called The Greatest Secret. So I read The Secret numerous times, migrated over to The Greatest Secret. And The Greatest Secret, I realized, was the Quan, right? Because The Secret was almost like a prelude to it. It taught you manifestation, it taught you law of attraction, which is always good things. I always practice it. And then when I read The Greatest Secret, it was like eye-opening. This past Christmas, I gave it and gifted it to an individual this past year, and I hope they're reading it and taking a look at it. Um, and I think over probably about 2 years ago, maybe about a year and a half ago, I bought a shitload of The Greatest Secret and just passed it around. And what I realized is I went off from those practices, and when I was reading it and practicing those things, I had nothing but mass abundance in my life, right? Reflecting that this morning while meditating and afterwards, and freezing my ass off on the top of copious amounts, because I think it was about 30, 30 something degrees. I think it was 30 something degrees this morning, you know. My hands were numb. I was telling a buddy on the phone for this recording that I wasn't sure if I was going to make it back to the car, right? Um, but I took a step back and I thought about ego. And I know whenever we used to talk about the ego, I used to always think like somebody that has an inflated head, somebody that has like they think they're perfect, they're God's gift to everything. And what I've learned over the years, especially this past year, that that's not true. Your ego is a characteristic of your mind that kind of prevents you from being vulnerable and authentic. Most of the time, it's a defense mechanism that we're trying to avoid the person we really are. And maybe we built that over years. Maybe we built that within our conditioning, our friends or family or whatever it may be. But sometimes I think it's almost doing a lot of research on it over the last year, and especially over this last couple of weeks. It's true enlightenment comes from death of the ego. And so really remaining silent for the last couple of weeks and observing and started to look, and especially in conversations today, it's like everybody's looking for freedom, right? But I think what they're actually looking for is freedom from wearing a mask and being themselves. I think when you look around, the only, thing that separates us from another is an idea. It's not that they're different. It's not that they're weird. It's not that they're strange. It's not that we don't like the same things. I think it's just an idea. Well, really outside of a zip code and weather and whatever else. But really, when you look at anybody you have a difference with, it's a difference of an idea they may have on life and you may have. And I really believe true experience of life, just me, especially when you look at manifestation like I talked about, is it really a feeling of wholeness or is it a feeling of neediness? I know it's not anything about losing weight, gaining muscle, being big, but I really think the workouts and the work should really be focused on the internal. And if we spend time doing internal work and really focus on becoming the individuals that we were created to be. About an hour, 2 hours, maybe 2 hours ago, I was thinking about this, and it's almost like there's two things in us, right? One's the ego and one's the spirit. And I think sometimes you have to draw the line on which one you're going to feed more. And I think really what we should start feeding is our spirit on the inside and not so much our ego. Because I really, really do think ego keeps you from being vulnerable. And I think if you're not vulnerable, you're not really being your authentic self. Going back to a couple days ago when I talked about goals versus habits, it started really having me think, goals again. And I think if we set a goal, goals are set in a way that we're expecting happiness. It's result reliant. So I believe that, you know, when people do those goals and set these things, it comes down to if I receive A, I'm going to be happy. If I receive B, I'm going to be happy. And I think if that's the case, what happens is every time you reach that goal, you're setting another one because it's never really enough. And it got me thinking something I read and looked at and heard maybe about, I think it was about 7 years ago. And it was like happiness versus joy. You never, and I was thinking about this today. You never hear somebody say, I want to be joyous. I want to find joy. It's always happy, 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 happy. And every single time they mention happy, it's looking to the external. So I think going into 2023, I'm going to challenge you guys to look at being joyous. When I was at work this past week and somebody came in and they were complaining about the job and they were leaving, going to another job. And I really think that's where the happiness versus joy comes in, because they think it's their job that's making them happy. They think it's that relationship that's making them happy. They think it's that family member, that car, their house, where they live that makes them happy. But I think if you really take some time, go inside and find some true passion and purpose of what you are joyous in doing, the result that comes out is the product of happiness. And it's really building those habits to obtain joy and really just enjoy process. You don't go on vacation to be happy. You go on vacation to experience things and go through that process and go through that road trip and that trip and what it takes to get there. It's not as much as, if I get this, this is going to make me happy. So those are the things I was kind of thinking about. And I want to challenge you guys to think, is it really happiness you're after? Or is it really just enjoying the things you do? So I'm going to continue this tomorrow. I'm looking at making Super Sunday a real quick, well, me a quick video on gratitude and appreciation, because I think when we really appreciate the things we have and are grateful for them, it reciprocates through our life. So I think those are the things I'm going to hit tomorrow. One of the things I want to do is send a couple shout outs. Phil, saw you at Walmart today, man. Great seeing you, catching up. I don't know how long we spent talking, but after I left you, I ran into Fitz. I think we spent 30, 40 minutes in a snack aisle, and we were just passing out snacks around for people who couldn't reach the top shelf. Appreciate talking to you, man. Thanks for the support. Seeing you, Phil. Big Tony D on the East Coast. Awesome, man. Just seeing your support and commenting on things, and Stu giving me shit about my age, but I'll outlift you any day at the gym. Kate, enjoyed the video of you walking in the shit part of town of Texas, but enjoy that cardio you've been doing. And Tracy, bless you for the support you gave me. And so you're having a good night tonight, so enjoy it. I'll be reaching out shortly. Everybody else, man, do me a favor. Keep moving forward. Keep pushing. Always, always be eternal love, and always be doing you.